Good morning. Uh-oh, we have lost Dr. Lee's video. Oh
Oh, it's
no.
okay. Dr. Lee, there she is. She's coming back in. You there, Dr. Lee? Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the chat session. I'm RODNEY RIPPY, one of the hosts, and I got my wonderful co-host here, Nina, and, and we're
Hey
waiting on
everyone.
Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee, she's probably gonna log in. This is such an important show, everybody. We really want you to know that we appreciate you coming on and saying a quick hello to a few people out there. Robin Spielman, how are you, Robin? And Carrie, AC Cruz, all of our diehards are on with us. Good morning, good morning.
Mm-hmm.
And so, did you have a good weekend, everybody? And Dr. Lee, she'll probably be popping back in. We were just getting everything rolling here. And so, tell me,
So,
how was your weekend?
well, my weekend was great, but I wanted to ask you about you sent me some pictures. There's Dr. Lee coming in a second time. Rodney had sent me some pictures of a memorial he went to, and I wanted
Yeah,
you to tell me about that a little bit, Rodney.
yeah. Yeah, we did. It was a wonderful weekend. I actually went to a memorial for the actor John Amos. And so it was a wonderful gathering of people. And John was just like a real staple here in Hollywood. And sadly, he passed away. But, he's such a great man. And we know he's in heaven because he was just a man that had such a great heart and was able to attend. And his wonderful publicist, Belinda Foster, his wonderful son, Casey Amos was there, and some of his closest confidants. And so, it was just really, really heartwarming. And John Amos was, and I told a story of when he actually, came on to my very first radio show. Hey, Dr. Lee, you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, yes.
Yay, Dr. Lee is here, the one and only Dr. Lee.
Oh,
All
thank you
right.
so much. Thank you.
And so we have Dr. Lee here, and I'm gonna we're all here together. And you know what? Normally I let Nina. There we go, Nina. Yeah, you set
There
it
we
up.
go.
There
Yeah, I
we
got
go.
it.
Yeah, we
I
got
got
it.
it. We like to have her in the middle because she is the star of the show today.
That is
Oh, you're so
right.
kind. Thank you. You're
That
so
is right.
kind.
No,
Well,
we really appreciate you being here with us, and I am so excited about today's show. Rodney had so many good things to say about you, and I
mhm.
feel like I know nothing, so I have just tons of questions.
Well,
Okay.
we
Bring them on.
everybody, let's give her a proper due, everyone. This is our special guest, Dr. CHERILYN Lee, and she is just fantastic. Let me give her a proper introduction here, everybody. And she is Dr. CHERILYN Lee. She is PhD, CHNP, certified health coach and certified functioning nutritional coach. And she is indeed a trailblazer. She's a philanthropist, international speaker, author, renowned global holistic practitioner, and founder of the presidents of the New Wellness Development Foundation here in Los Angeles. Dr. Lee has been bestowed by 4 United States Lifetime Achievement Awards. 4 presidents have recognized her: President Obama, President Trump, and President Biden. And she has received numerous awards and recognitions from government branches at every level, U.S. State Department of just so many things to the city of Los Angeles. The city council here in Los Angeles loves her. She's done so many things, and she has her wellness clinic right here in beautiful Los Angeles, right here on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. Everybody, welcome to the chat session. Dr. CHERILYN Lee, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. And it's such an honor to be here today with both of you. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
It's
So appreciate you being here. Let me ask you first, because I read your bio, and the most exciting word in there to me was that you're a functional medicine doctor. I had never even heard that term until earlier this year. And I got very excited when I found out what it meant. So, would you please explain to our audience just what that is? Because I have a feeling there's a lot of people like me who didn't know.
Yes, I'm a functional healthcare practitioner. I'm not a medical doctor. I want to make sure that's
Mhm.
clear. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I'm
Okay.
not a medical doctor. There are a lot of medical doctors that are also practicing functional medicine. So I'm a
Hmm.
functional, I went through all the training and everything for functional medicine as a coach. And so it's been really, really wonderful. So what we do a little differently, and what I do because of my, I don't know, 50, well, 40 plus years in healthcare, which has been a long time. So
Mhm.
after seeing so many things happen, especially when I worked years ago in the emergency room, back in the day, I kind of retired from the nursing part of my life. Um,
Mhm.
I would see so many things that I would say, there things could have turned around. This person did not have to be here as a patient. So I
Hmm.
Mhm.
started doing
Mhm.
more research and more studying and studying and studying all types of programs for many, many years, and losing at 35 years of experience. So what we do is we look at things now on an optimum level. So when you say functioning, is how is the body truly functioning? We don't want to
Mhm.
have, for instance, we're talking about test, don't guess. We don't want to have a blood work that says normal. We want
Mhm.
it to be optimal. And those optimal ranges will put you in a state where you can heal. So when you say functional, we want to make sure there's so many things under functional health and nutrition, so many things now that were kind of left out years ago, as far as how you would assess a person, the overall, what you would even tell them as far as a lifestyle totally different. We have to be more in tune to even water. People are not
Mhm.
drinking water, something so simple,
Mhm.
something as far as your vitamin D levels. People don't even know them. And I have seen in my family and others, people who were diagnosed with cancer, they all seem to have a low vitamin D level. So you want to make
Wow.
sure. And that's why I said to test, never guess. When somebody asked me a question about, supplements or what they should take and do, I said, you should never take anything without testing first. And there's some
Mhm.
markers that everybody need to know. It's just imperative that we would see more on a functional assessment. And that would be everybody right now should know their inflammation markers.
Mm.
Inflammation,
Mm.
because they're
Mhm.
very high with so many people. And you can actually go and do these tests yourself. A lot of people have been waiting. They ask their doctors to run them. They don't get them right away. We need to know. We have to be proactive. I'm only still sitting in front of you because I've been proactive. I've been in 2 comas. I've had colon cancer. I've been, I've been
Mhm.
through it. Was scheduled to have my legs amputated when I was a child from
Ooh.
conditions. And because, what happened to me, it put me where I am. I just want to share that with you too. When I was 7 years old, I was scheduled to have both my legs amputated from when I was 7 years old. And what happened, my mother was at the hospital with me, and when the team of 7 doctors came into the room, they said, "We're so sorry. We have to tell you, we have to amputate both her legs from like 10 inches above the knee, both of them." And my mother leaned up against the wall and she cried and she says, "Please." And she started praying, "Can we do something?" And so one of the doctors told my mother, "I'm going to do everything I can to save your daughter's legs." So I remember him coming into the room, putting me on a gurney and taking me down the hallway, submerging me in some solution until my legs healed. And because of this one doctor, I have my legs. And when I was 7, I
Wow.
felt in my spirit, I want to be able to be that person to give back to
Mhm.
others what this doctor gave me. That's why
Mhm.
I have the compassion that I do for people. That's number one.
Wow. And that allows you to speak from a position of authority
Yes.
about these things because you've been in that position and you
Yes.
know what people are going through. So now let me ask you, of course, I think we're all wondering what solution, what in the world did they put you in that made
Well,
such a difference?
I know. I never did go back and really examine what it was in a county hospital. I never went back to really find out what it
Mhm.
was. But it was a whirlpool. I do know that, and it felt so good
Mm.
because my legs were so contracted
Mhm.
with lesions that I couldn't even walk. And
Mm,
so going through this whole scenario in life,
Mhm.
even fast forward a little bit, I even married the person that I married
Wow.
because he accepted the scars on my legs. And that was
mhm,
40 some years ago. I
Mhm.
married over 50 now. I married him. We're divorced now. But the thing is, because I did not have enough love for myself and my own body image, that I went
Mm.
into a marriage because of that only reason. So,
Mm.
I
mm,
work
mm,
closely with people in relationships as well to find out what was the cause. Did you marry because of love, or why did you marry? Because all of those things will affect your health. So
mhm,
when I'm working with a person, is like peeling an onion. There are
Mhm.
mhm,
layers after layers. I got to deal with the emotional component. I have to deal with the environmental toxins, the
Mm.
toxins within the body. If your house is, very toxic, we have toxic homes that are making people very ill. So actually, you have to look at everything, everything.
Dr. Lee, when you spoke with me, you were sharing with me some of these big indicators like inflammation. And I've been hearing a lot of things in the news, and they say if you have inflammation in the body, these are signs. That's where disease kind of starts, when you start getting this
Mhm.
inflammation and the heavy metals. Where does a person pick up heavy metals from in the body?
Well, you can pick it up from one dental. If you ever had a root canal, not a root canal, if you ever had any fillings of mercury in your mouth, you can
mhm,
definitely pick up heavy metal. To start there in the mouth, and root canals, they're linked to a lot of cancers as well. Root canal is the
mhm,
root of a lot of diseases. So we have to deal with that. Heavy metal is picked up in deodorant. We find aluminum in women's breast
mhm,
tissue from aluminum deodorant. It's in a lot of some of your food, it's in packaging. So heavy
Wow.
metal is coming through. They're even find, I think, cadmium in a lot of seafood, I believe. So, and if you
Mm.
mhm,
wear nickel, if you wear jewelry, that could leach into the body as well. So heavy metals, and it's all different. You have your mercury, you have aluminum, you have lead, and lead was picked up in a
mhm.
lot of women because they were using hair dyes with a lot of lead in it.
Mhm.
That was causing a
Oh,
lot of brain problems as well.
Mhm.
So, heavy metals can come from different sources.
You were,
But you can do,
you had also spoke with me about a lot of ladies are using hair dye and some type of different processes in their hair. There's a lot of toxic things there. Is that true?
yes, that was the gels.
Mm.
If you see the picture on there, my hair is very wavy. So I
Mhm.
kind of made my own, but it didn't work like I wanted to.
Mhm.
So the other gels could not use at all because I would start to have a headache. So they're
mm,
linked to, and that was many years ago, but they're linked to a lot of toxins. So I tell people, if you're feeling lightheaded and dizzy and have headaches and you're using gels in your hair, you may not want to think that through. But a lot of things we put on our skin are very toxic. I had a lady who went into the hospital. Her blood pressure was very, very high, and she didn't realize she put a cortisone cream on her skin after taking her bath, and the skin was dry, wet, so it went right into the pores, and it increased her blood pressure. So,
mm,
talking to a
mm.
person and find out what exactly is going on, what's in your diet, what are you putting on your skin, what are you bathing in, those things are very important. But your surroundings, so staying happy. I tell
So,
people,
doctor,
go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Because, and I do want to get back to this, but one of our viewers has asked, what was the diagnosis you had at 7 that they were going to take your legs?
Eczema.
Wow.
For that, they were going to take oh my goodness. I'm so
Yeah,
glad you had a doctor who
yeah.
Mhm.
made a
It,
different
it,
decision.
it was childhood eczema and asthma.
And
Mhm,
Dr.
So,
Lee,
mhm.
you shared with me something about detoxification And can you explain a little bit on what is on the screen here?
Yes, this is one of the doctors. I love his chart here, and I sent it because it kind of tells the whole story. I actually have a colon cleanse. We'll talk about it in a minute, but people don't realize that the liver, when your liver is very toxic, you're going to have a lot of problems because the liver goes through phases also for detoxing, but it's going to affect every area of the body. And I do like the gut health healing because it's linked to every system of the body: gut, brain, gut, breast, prostate. The gut is linked to everything. But first, we dive into detoxing the liver. Like I said, from pesticides, herbicides. And one thing I want to say too with the liver, we find a lot of problems with cancers and different things are you're seeing more of because of the paraffin, which is linked to so many things. But people have to be very careful when they go to the supermarket
Mm-hmm.
and they get their receipt. Do you know that's very toxic? I'm glad I see a lot of the people putting on gloves. I usually just don't get one. If you use a credit card, it's gonna be on your bill, or just put it in a bag, but try not to touch those all the
Mm-hmm.
time. So we have to be careful. So there are tests that you can do to find out do you if you have these toxins in the body because they are hormone disruptors.
Mhm.
They would disrupt the hormone in your body. So, and we have a lot of people. I have a very dear friend who has breast cancer, and she does a very great outline on showing how these hormone disruptors can cause cancer.
Mhm. Dr. Lee, how can our viewers get those tests? You mentioned before that you can go through your doctor, but sometimes it takes a really long time. And then I don't know about where you are, but here the doctor doesn't call you with the results. You have to call them,
Mhm.
Hmm.
but you don't know when they've gotten it back yet. So, you know,
So what I do, I tell people, depending on what state, most just about all the states, I have my patient go to ULTA labs.com. You're going to order any test you want, any test you want, without a doctor's order. So you can order the inflammation markers. I'm telling a lot of people since cancer is on the rise right now for so many reasons, cancer is on the rise. I tell people to go ahead and you can do your cancer markers. I'm
Wow.
writing a book right now, and hopefully you'll have me on again when the book is finished. But the
Mm-hmm.
book is
please.
because of me losing my cousin in
Mm-hmm.
June. And when this happened with her, she had gone to the hospital at least 7, 8 times. Her chief complaint, the reason why she was there, her chief complaint was abdominal pain, pain
Mm.
in her abdomen. And she kept going and going and going. And so when they called me to fly up to where she was, they had just diagnosed her with pancreatic cancer, and she
Mm.
only had 30 days to live. So I
Oh.
asked him, I said, I don't understand. If her chief complaint was abdominal pain, why didn't you assess everything possible in the abdomen? She had pain. And then there's
Mhm.
some other things that are linked to cancer through research. We're seeing that, if you have problems with a lot of blood clots, you need to rule out cancer. She had blood clots in her lungs, she had blood clots in her legs, phlebitis. You have to rule out cancer. So you can order cancer markers. So, and then while I was working with my cousin for about a month, do you know I had at least 8 or 9 people call me saying the same thing? I went to my doctor. I did not know. They didn't find it. Now they found it and it's too late.
Oh
So
no.
many people. And so the title of the book that I'm writing is What is Your Chief Complaint? It covers everything in the abdominal cavity, but it also shows you what lab work you can go check yourself. Rule out pancreatic cancer, number one, because they normally don't find
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
CEA-9 is the blood test. CA 19-9 is the blood test. There are cancer markers. You can order all of them on your own just to see. And you can, if once you get the results, you can say, doc, your doctor, you can say, listen, this is what I kind of found. Can we investigate this a little bit more? We have to be more proactive. But if your inflammation markers are elevated, you're susceptible to so many things going on. So to know your C-reactive protein, your homeocysteine, which is dealing with the heart. And I have a wonderful product that, I have people to take, and it's just your B vitamins. It's your B vitamins. So, to know your blood work. Some lab work will show you you're low in zinc, you're low in B1, and you have all these problems. Didn't know, hey, this is what I need to do to turn this around. So the education behind this and knowing it is
Mhm.
very comprehensive when someone says, oh, this is my blood work. Oh, okay, let's just see what nutritional deficiencies are happening based on your blood work. And this is science. This is science. This is
Mhm.
Hmm.
science-based nutrition. And it's not something just holistic. This is science-based nutrition.
Now, Dr. Lee, you had mentioned, they say, is it so? I don't know if this is correct. Does the body actually produce CoQ10, or is this something that the body needs? You had mentioned that
Well,
CoQ10.
I mentioned it because of the fact that people on blood pressure medicines need to have it. Most cases, they will put a person on their blood pressure medicines and their statins, um, and they don't tell them to go take the CoQ10. So you need to take that. But what's happening, there's, I know why, I'm not going to go into detail right now, but it's been a major problem with generic medications. So for blood pressure, diabetes, respiratory disorders, I'm seeing so many things across the board where people are taking their medicines and they're still sick. Their still blood
Mhm.
pressure is elevated. So what is
Mhm.
the underlying cause of having high blood pressure? What is the underlying cause? Is it diet related? Are you in a stressful relationship, a stressful job? Your cortisol levels elevated? What are
Mhm.
you doing? Are you not sleeping at night? The number one is, are you dealing with forgiveness?
Mm, mm.
Do you want
So
you
true.
want it? Forgiveness. You will
Mhm.
be stressed out, dead. I've been in two comas. The first coma, I went to hell. And then I was told I did something that brought me out of hell. You know,
Now,
the
I
second
think we
coma,
have to hear that story.
the second coma, I went to heaven. That was so wonderful. 10 years later.
Oh,
So
I'm
going to
sorry.
hell, I was just, oh my gosh, my life was just so upside down. I was going through a horrible divorce, and it was just a lot. It would work and you name it. And I just had, I'm a human being. I had this passing thought, this is just too much. I
Mhm.
can't take anymore. It's just too much. And so I went in, had a really bad asthma attack. Um, Paramedics, I called them from home, came and got me, and they said, "Well, we know you because didn't you work here?" So here I am at the hospital, and I remembered this gentleman walking up toward me, and the next thing I knew is he was gone, and I was in a dark, deep, cold, musty pit, and I knew I was gone. And all I can do, I couldn't see anything. The blackness was so dark, so black, that this object came up to me in a cloak and with this musty type fumes coming from the mouth and looked at and didn't I can't say it looked at me because I couldn't see because the cloak was over the head. And it said, "You asked for this." Because I had said that I just can't go on anymore. I didn't say I wanted to kill myself, but in essence, what does that mean? And it was so stressful. And this voice said, "You asked for this, you can have it." And what brought
Mm,
me
mm.
back is, "God, forgive me. I want to live." I was back like that.
Wow.
Wow.
Forgiveness
So,
brought me out of a coma.
so we should actually, the one thing is a lot of times you'll hear people who go through a health issue or a health crisis,
Uh-huh.
mental, you getting your heart and spirit together is a huge step forward. Is that true?
Mhm.
You
Does
have
that?
to. It's number
Wow.
one. I
Mhm.
Wow.
have so many wonderful stories on watching people heal, dealing with the emotional component and letting go and releasing. You have to let go. A young lady came to me years ago, and she had, they called it juvenile arthritis. She came in a walker. She could not walk. She was in excruciating pain. And I think she was 21. So she and her mother, she sat there, and I asked the mother, I said, when did this happen? What was going on in your life? So, I pray first. I pray before I see people, and
Mhm.
asking God to just give me, what do I need to know for this person? What do I need to know? So I pray first, and I can hear the voice of God said, ask her what was going on in her life when she was 7 years old. So I asked her, and she said, and she teared up first, and she said, my dad divorced my mother, but he divorced me too.
Mm.
So in
Mm.
her heart, she felt that he left her as well and the mother because he didn't care for her anymore. And her body was riddled with pain. That's when it sort of started, from the
Mm.
pain and the hurt. So I had a long talk with her and told her some things to do, and told her, let's get a letter going. Do you know where he is? She said, yes, my father's remarried. I have sisters. He doesn't call me. I don't see him. I said, well, I want you to write him a letter. And I like voices. So I didn't
Mm.
want her to send a letter. I wanted to put it on a cassette tape and explain what happened
Mhm.
and how it made you feel. Because if you don't
Mhm.
dress how something made you feel, it will make you ill.
Mhm. And be
So
honest about that. Yeah.
she was very honest. So when she finished writing it, she did send it. Her father said, please, please, I'm going to send you a ticket. I'm going to fly you to where I am. She's 21, and she's had a loving relationship. But that day in the office, I took her in the other room. I did reflexology on her feet,
Mm.
dealing with the fascia. Dealing with the fascia,
Mhm.
and people will go deal with the joints. You got to deal with the fascia. That's what
Mhm.
the glue that holds us together. So after
Mm.
I did the reflexology on her feet, didn't give her anything else, and prayed, she got off my exam table and did not have any more pain.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Because the pain in her
Fantastic.
life, it's the pain in
Mm-hmm.
her
Mhm.
life. So when
Mhm.
people say, I have this condition, I need to know more. I
Mm-hmm.
need to
Mhm.
know more. What's causing it? Is it environmental? Is it, makeup? I love skincare. And now I
Mm-hmm.
have all natural skincare, because we had a lady at a hospital years ago when I was in training. The mother kept coming in and the baby kept crying. The baby was get sick when she walked in. At first, we thought the baby was being abused. Come to find out, it was the mother's makeup.
Right. Some people
Wow.
are
Yeah,
very, very sensitive to
yeah.
perfumes and things, and
Hmm.
I've heard people just get nauseous. I mean, really, really nauseous because of perfumes and colognes and things.
And you should not wear perfumes or hormone disruptors. Well, I don't even use perfumes anymore. If you want to put a little inside your clothes, just so you have that nice scent. But to me, the best scent is a clean scent,
Mhm.
none at all. So,
Mhm.
but perfumes are really not that healthy for us to put it on our skin. They are, kind of causing some problems there. So you don't want to do that with
Mhm.
perfume. There are some really nice ones, I know.
So, Dr. Lee, let's say that someone comes to you and they've got all sorts of issues, lots and lots of issues. And it seems so complex to them, they don't even know where to begin to reclaim their health. What would you tell them?
Well, the first thing I do is I test and don't guess.
Mhm.
So I don't test. I have them get their tests because I am a health coach now. So they get
Mhm.
their own tests, and then we go and we do an assessment just to see what's happening with them nutritionally. So maybe you
Mhm.
don't know where to start because it is complex, but sometimes it's just a few little things out of balance. A few things. You could be low in magnesium. You could be low in your B vitamins. You can be toxic, or your inflammation markers are so high, or your cortisol levels are so high. Within our group, we do a 3-minute cardiovascular screening. That's where I end up receiving the Lifetime Achievement Awards because I do these in the
Mhm.
community. I'm the only one in the world that was given CRT machines, so I do breast screening for men, women, and teenagers because it's not squeezing the breast, it's no radiation, but we'll do that. And guess where I found out? A lot of people's problems. Even before that, it was the dental. So every tooth in your body
Mm.
is connected to an organ. My granddaughter was my first breast cancer person at 16 years old. 16.
Mm.
And
Mm.
then Doris Mosley is my spokesperson for women in breast cancer. A lot of people know her in the community. She's a hairstylist. And when I met her, her story is on YouTube. I told her, you should come have this test. She said, oh, no, I don't need to. But God put it in my spirit, dropped it in my spirit to tell her, let's do this. Long story, she did. They did find it. She had a mastectomy. Again, her story is on YouTube. Um, the doctor said, the pathologist, we think when we did your mastectomy, we got all of it because it was so little there. So we found it when it was so minute. And this is
Mhm.
why I tell everybody, just get it done. Let's just do these things. Even when you feel and you feel great and you said, well, I don't have anything wrong, see where you are. See or if
Mhm.
your body is truly in an optimal state. Because we've had so many things introduced in our body and antibiotics through the years and all these things that are really stress out your microbiome and just throw
Mhm.
everything off. And people wonder, why am I feeling the way I am? Is it you're not drinking enough water? I had some people just not get enough water. Their brain was dehydrated. You can have a
Mm.
dehydrated brain. So you want to make
Wow.
sure. I have a rule of thumb. I think it works really well. You make sure you get your alarm and you set it for every 20 minutes. And you drink 1 to 2 ounces every 20 minutes while you're awake.
Now that doesn't sound like very much. That sounds like it'd be an easy thing to do. Just
It
drink
is.
a couple of
Yeah,
ounces.
yeah. Just set your alarm as soon as it goes off. Grab your water
Mhm.
and drink your water. And 1 and a half
Got
to
mine.
2 ounces every 20 minutes. So if people follow that, oh my goodness, you will feel so much better
Yeah,
because
well,
of
a
what
lot
I
of
teach
times
to say.
when people are on the jobs, you're so focused on doing your work, and you have a tendency to really fall behind on
Mhm.
drinking. And it's sad that
Mhm.
we so many people they're constantly drinking soft drinks and energy drinks and coffee, and they're just not getting enough
Mhm.
real water in their system. And
And then when
it
they
seems
stand up, they wonder, why do I feel this way? And if you're on blood pressure medicines, oh my gosh, your kidneys are being destroyed. You have to
Mhm.
drink water. And there's one thing I would like to say because I've seen this happen. So many people have called me and over the years, and they're saying, they're scheduling me for dialysis. So I tell everybody, if you're on blood pressure medicine or you're diabetic or overweight, anything, know your liver function tests. It's a liver kidney function test. I'm sorry, liver as well. But know your kidney, your renal function test because that EGFR and the creatine and and the BUN, all those are important. But that EGFR is your filtration rate of the kidneys. And when that doesn't work anymore, that's when they're going to put you on dialysis. And with blood pressure medicine, it has a tendency to weaken that part of the body. So just
Mhm.
follow it. There's things you can do. There's things you can do to exercise, change your diet. Your doctor will be glad to taper you off medication once your blood pressure comes down. He see it coming down to normal. He's not going to keep you on all the medications with a normal blood pressure that becomes too low. And that's what
mm.
happens when people do what they
Mhm.
need to do. And
Doctor,
also deal with the stress.
Doctor, can you please talk about, because having a proper diet, especially in so many communities across the nation, it's just finances, and people are just not eating as well as they could. What are some of the things that people really need to be eating more of that is really beneficial?
Well, we would say if you can, always do organic, but
Hmm.
your fruit and vegetables, I'm an advocate against chicken. That's my preference.
Mm.
I cannot touch the bird because I've seen too much cancer. And even if it's free range, I still have, my doubts about it. I watched too many relatives of mine end up with cancer and they did a lot of free range chicken. But they had other
Mm.
things in their diet as well. I'm not going to say it's just that. And I
Hmm.
noticed once the people that I know pulled away from that in their diet, they start to heal a lot better,
Mm-hmm.
along with doing other things. So a good diet to me is try to balance it. Try to get up in the morning and have something light. I personally, I still do organic eggs, so I don't eat the chicken, but I do eat the eggs. So I will have maybe an omelet or a
Mm-hmm.
boiled egg in the morning. And I want to say too, anytime you're on blood pressure medicines, do not take that medicine on an empty stomach. Do not.
Mm.
So if you're taking it in the morning, make sure you have a couple bites to eat. If you don't want a big meal, boil an egg. You also have your nut butters. You don't have to do peanut butter. You have uh, different other nut butters that are really
Almond
healthy.
butter. Almond
Yeah,
butter?
you can do
Mhm.
almond, people who can eat almond. They have macadamia butter. Can you believe it? It's
Mm-hmm.
so good. You put
Ooh.
it on a
Mhm.
little sourdough bread. I tell people
Oh.
you can get a sourdough bread and make yourself some French toast. Can you imagine? You don't even need any sugar for this.
Mm.
And you just beat the eggs lightly with a little cold water. Cold water keeps it from getting tough. Put a little cold water, beat it. Don't put any seasoning in it. No salt, no pepper, no
Mm-hmm.
cinnamon, nothing. Let the eggs soak into the batter, and you can get some ghee butter or butter. Make sure it's natural butter, and then just cook it. And then while it's cooking, you can sprinkle your cinnamon over it, a little
Ooh.
pinch of salt, just a little pinch, and I'm telling you, it's so delicious. This is how you make your topping. Yummy. You cut up some apples
Mm-hmm.
and put them on the stove with um, a lot of butter, maybe a little coconut oil too, butter, coconut oil. Put all of you want a couple drops of stevia in it, you can, a lot of cinnamon, a pinch of nutmeg, a little drop of vanilla flavor. Let that cook
Wow.
down and pour that on top of those
Mhm.
toast, your French toast,
Yeah.
and you have
Oh,
a
Wow.
wow.
delicious meal. And the family usually loves it too. So then
Mhm.
you're full. It
Mhm.
satisfies you. Drink your water. Drink your water.
Mm-hmm.
And then lunch, you do your salads. I do salmon. Um,
Mhm.
even with that, I make sure I watch the heavy metals. I'm looking at my mercury levels because I do like my salmon.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
the smaller the fish, sometimes the less of the heavy metals. So
Mm-hmm.
sardine, if you like sardines as well. So there's things you can do. Cook your vegetables. I developed a recipe based on my children who didn't want to eat years ago, and we got a natural jello. And instead of using water, I would puree all of the vegetables, the carrots, the zucchini, everything pure, and make that into a jello. So they always ate. So they were like, "Oh, they didn't even know they
Mhm.
were still eating."
The old trick.
I did not have sick children. I did not have sick
Mhm.
children
Wow.
for that reason. Yeah. So we have to
So,
introduce even to our kids early. Hmm.
mhm. I love the way you're introducing the we're being asked if you will adopt a 61-year-old. I think someone would love to have you feeding them. So, but I love the way you're emphasizing the fruits and vegetables there because, of
Mhm.
course, there is nothing like fruits and vegetables for fighting the free radicals that are causing so
Yes,
much oxidative stress in
right.
our bodies. So, I want to tell you very briefly my father's story and have you respond to
Okay.
this. So, my father had heart disease run in his family. I mean, literally run in his family. All three of his brothers died in their 50s of heart attacks.
Mm.
His father died at 71 of a heart attack. And my dad saw the handwriting on the wall. So he started trying to do some things about the time he got into his 40s, I think, to help stave that off if he could.
Mhm.
And while he wasn't able to stave it off completely, he did live till he was 91, but he did
Very
eventually
good.
die of congestive heart failure.
Mhm.
So, the last 5 years of his life, my mom had passed away, and I was taking care of my dad. And the one he had several medications, but the one that he was very faithful about taking was blood pressure medication. But one thing I was aware of was that starting somewhere in his 60s, he had been diagnosed with kidney disease. And part of it was because of what was happening with his heart. There was a valve in there that was stiffening, and so his heart didn't work correctly. His blood pressure went up, but the more it went up, the worse damage his kidneys got into. So during the time I was taking care of him, and by this time he's already in his late 80s, okay? And he developed some pneumonia. He ended up in the hospital. And the last day he's in the hospital, of course, he had gotten some antibiotics then too. But the last day he's in the hospital, he also got a raging case of gout. And they were telling me, oh, well, we can't give him the medication for the gout because it causes kidney
damage. Yes.
And he's already having problems. So we don't want to do that. So we're just going to have to wait for it to resolve itself. Now, if you've ever had gout, you know it's extremely painful. And I asked them, how long do you think that's going to take? And they said, maybe a couple of weeks. And they could not dismiss him until he got past the gout because he couldn't walk. So now they're looking at, you know, him staying in the hospital an extra couple of weeks. And I told them, I said, well, usually at home when he has an episode of gout, we treat that with apple cider vinegar with the mother in it. And they said, well, we don't have any of that here. And so I said, okay. And I went home and I got it and I brought it back and we gave him 2 tablespoons in a glass of water right then. Within an hour, he starts having some relief from the pain from the gout. And what I also watched, because they had him hooked up to a monitor, they had him on 2 blood pressure medications, not the same ones he was taking at home. They were hoping to find something better, but still his blood pressure had been too high the whole time he was in there. But he's hooked up to that monitor, and after he gets apple cider vinegar, I watch his blood pressure go down on the monitor. And I comment on that to the doctor, and I said, do you think it had? And he said, oh, yes, definitely. He said, I know it did, because as a matter of fact, he said, before the advent of blood pressure medications, they used to give vinegar in the ER to help take down someone's blood pressure rapidly. Now we get my dad home and we're supposed to follow up with his doctor, which I did. I told the doctor what had happened with his blood pressure and the gout and the apple cider vinegar. And I said, now I'm getting a little concerned because now dad's blood pressure is a little on the low side. And the doctor says, take him off the blood pressure medications. But leave him on the apple cider vinegar. Do that every day to help keep the gout at bay. So that's what we started doing. And we did not have to put dad back on the blood pressure medication.
What a blessing.
Yes, it really was. And it did keep the gout at bay. Now, it couldn't do anything about the damage to his heart, you know, that stiffened valve. So eventually that did get him, but it prevented so much suffering. And one of the other things that we had done for my dad was we got him a, because I had been taking it and had seen great results. Oh, we lost your camera. Okay, so one of the things we had done for my dad also was we had him on a some fruits and vegetables that are in capsule form, better than organic. And I say better than organic because they far surpass the bar for organic in this country. But they were in capsule form, made it easy for my dad to take. And I am convinced that that had a lot to do. My dad didn't start taking that till he was in his late 70s. I think that had a lot to do with him making it to 91 and being in such good shape most of the time. So I want you to respond to that. Yeah, I agree. It's wow. It's wow to me.
And I just want to jump in. Everybody, we have our special guest, Miss CHERILYN Lee. She is a health practitioner here in Los Angeles. Just fantastic. Works with everybody from the community to celebrity. She has stars who come and really take her advice about healthcare and things like that, and really making a difference in their lives, and we're honored to have her on. And you know, Dr. Lee, you had actually mentioned, and I know we're getting close to the end of the show, but I wanted to bring this up. This is a product that you actually produce, and it's all about gut health. Can you talk about that really quick?
Yes, actually, this is something I developed about 20 years ago. There's a lot of people in the community that are taking it. I actually enhanced it because I wanted the probiotics a little bit more stronger. So it's 225 billion. The probiotic
Mhm.
it was 30. Because of the fact during COVID, a lot of people, their bifidus bacterium was destroyed with COVID. A
Mm.
lot of people, and
Mhm.
somewhat destroyed with cancer too. But this product has the prebiotic, probiotic. It totally detoxes the body. It helps with the gut-brain axis because of what's in it, and liver detox. But a lot of people are just not pooping like they should. And that's why I
Mm,
developed
Mm.
this because of my own health. A lot of things I do. I mean, I'm 72 years old now.
mm-hmm,
And the reason why I feel great and keep moving is because you got to keep things moving in that colon. It
mm-hmm.
cannot sit there. People wonder why they're uptight and feeling bad. And we would tell them, this is not a good way to say this, maybe, they are really full of it. And a lot of times they are. They're really full of it.
Mhm.
So once you
Mhm.
start moving your bowels, and if you're eating 2 or 3 meals a day, you should be going 2 or 3 times a day. And people are
Mhm.
not. So I said, if I put this in here, so it has everything in it for your microbiome, for heart health, because you don't want the toxins sitting there. It's great for men and prostate, women with fibroid tumors, liver disorders, because there's milk thistle that's there. It's just a great food product. So it
Wonderful.
helps keep that. And I just want to share this really quick. I want people to find out the colon transient time. Find out how long it takes for you. How long is food staying in your body? Okay.
Mm,
So what you do, you get it. I do both of them. This is if you have an allergy to corn or beets. I don't particularly have people eat corn, but for the test, you get a cup of whole corn and a cup of beets and eat them both because they're not digested and you can see it in the stool, especially the corn. So what you're going to do is
Mm.
write down the date and time you have consumed the beets and corn. Write down the date and time, then you're going to, each time you have a BM, you're going to
mm-hmm,
watch for this corn and beets in your stool. The first time you see it, you write down the time. You put down the time you've eaten it, the first time you see it in the stool, and then the last time you see it in your stool. And in that process, you can find out what is your colon transient time quickly. You can do this little
Mhm.
simple exercise at home. Some people told me they didn't see it for 2 days. One person told me it was a week. So
wow.
Mm.
each
Mm.
time you go and poop doesn't mean that's the food you have consumed that day.
Right.
So we
Mhm.
got to get
Mhm.
things moving a little better, and we don't want too fast. You don't want to transit time this really fast, because then the body's not absorbing the nutrients that it need. Because you have so many
Mhm.
parasites and things going on. I mean, not parasites, but toxins in the small intestines. This is why we call it small intestine bacterial overgrowth in that small intestine. Guess what is linked with? Teeth. A lot of that's
Mm.
linked to the teeth. So again, root canals and different things. We want to definitely make sure that we keep the microbiome clean, and then you will feel better. A lot of times it's just you have too much going on there. So
I do. I
assessing
want to
someone.
get. I don't want to interrupt because Nina had asked that she had told you a little story about her dad reset that
Mhm.
question, Nina. You had.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Sorry,
that,
go ahead.
someone had put up right there. How can you break the chains of hereditary disease?
Yeah.
Well, first you have to find out. My story is similar to yours. My father died at age 65, and my uh, daughter kept saying, "Well, Mom, you before I got 65, she said, you need to be careful. Your father died." And I said, "Yeah, but his father lived to be 100 because he
Mm.
said he was going
Mm.
to live to be 100. My grandfather lived to be 100. When he turned 100, he stopped eating. I had to go talk to him. Hereditary disease, you've got to find out what's going on in the bloodline as well. What's
Mm-hmm.
going on emotionally? My father was not a super happy person. He had been married 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of stuff going on. So when you look at something hereditary, do you have some of the same traits? Are you eating the same thing that the family was eating? And find out what's going on. So we get a history. So I don't have the same problems as my father. I did have malignant hypertension like him, but I also had problems with relationship like he did. And so
Mhm.
once I got things under control and start forgiving, he didn't, some people suppress things. You can't
Mm-hmm.
suppress. So when we have heart issues, what close to your heart is bothering you? What
Mm-hmm.
close in that family that's bothering them? You know, that
Mhm.
they're maybe the family is not talking about. You got to get it all out, you know,
Mhm.
and you come from a loving place and let a person know this is what's happening. You know, what can we do? I tell people coenzyme Q10. Heart valve problems, again, CoQ10. Find out what city you're in. I have a friend of mine that's doing the coenzyme Q10 IM injections. Can you imagine for cardiac arrhythmias? And it helps. Do you need more minerals in your diet? What's happening with your overall diet? Do we have the same eating pattern in within the family? Or are we leaving out some valuable nutrients? You know, magnesium is so important. You need the magnesium. You need your B vitamins for your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So what's really happening? Is it inflammation? Most important with heart attacks
Mhm.
is root canals. They're linked. If a person have cancer or heart disease, they probably had a root canal. So
Wow.
you see a holistic dentist do a cavitation, have them clean it out. That's what happened with me. I went to the wrong dentist some years ago and actually left her office and had a heart attack because she cleansed my teeth
Wow.
improperly and she was doing too vigorously, pushed down the toxins into, and where did it
Mhm.
go? 2 days later, I had a mild heart attack on the freeway.
Oh
I
my
was
goodness.
driving on the freeway. So happened, I had a friend in the car with me who had heart disease. And I said, you know, I was having chest pain in the fast lane. I said, by the way, it was mild. I wasn't going to endanger anyone's life. I said, do you have any nitroglycerin? She said, yes, I do. Are you having chest pain? I said, a little bit. I'm pulling off the freeway. I know you, I don't want you to get excited. And so took a little piece and went away. Went to go check it out the next day. Yeah, I had a mild heart attack. And it was from the dentist. So then I'm under a biological dentist and you get all that taken care of and it goes away. Chest
Mhm.
pain, headaches,
And
a lot of things will go away.
Dr. Lee, and someone was just, I had just saw something in the chat, and someone was wanting to know where could they get the actual gut
The
medicine.
way,
They were, yeah, where
right.
could you get the gut
R-
product? How could
Right
they?
now,
Hmm?
okay, so we're actually in a process of upgrading the website.
Mm-hmm.
So this is mine. I take it every day.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do is call me and then I'll, you know, get your information and ship it over to you.
There you go. And there is that
Yeah.
the
All right,
number?
there's the number right there. So
888
y'all write that down.
There you go. 888-903-2145. That is a contact to Dr. CHERILYN Lee. She's got a wonderful total gut health connection. Wow. I have to say she was kind enough to give me some. I actually have a little bit of the product here myself. I would jump up in the middle of the thing, but I actually have some. And she gave it to me. I put it in a bottle of water here, and I am
Okay.
prepared to try this wonderful thing, but I plan to
Okay.
be around the home. I'm not going to be doing too much traveling,
Well,
just in
it
case.
does not give you diarrhea. So, but the first
Oh,
time
that's
I
good.
can understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
So, Dr. Lee, I wanted to ask you, I had told you about the product that I had taken that was the fruits and vegetables in a capsule. And it was so good for me that I affiliated with the company. And I'm not even going to mention that because I'm not trying to compete with you right here. But the thing I do know is that being affiliated with that company, it gave me the opportunity to hear all the research. There's been like 47 different gold standard trials done on the product. And all the things that they've learned from that, one of the things they were telling us, I wanted to bring this up for our viewers, is that as far as breaking the cycle of hereditary diseases, fruits and vegetables
Yeah.
literally will change the
Mhm.
epigenetic switches on the outside of your genes that change the expression of those genes. So, literally, even if you are born with a propensity for a certain disease, whether it's diabetes or
You don't
heart
have to.
disease,
Mhm.
etc., exactly, that only literally only has maybe a 10 to 20%
Mhm.
influence over your life. All of the rest of it is the choices that you make
Mhm.
every day, as far as what you eat, the exercise you get, how much sunlight you get, the sleep
Exactly.
you get, etc. That was very exciting to me. And it was even more exciting to realize that if you are getting enough fruits and vegetables, then those switches on the outside of your genes, the
Mhm.
epigenetic markers that say, all right, this person is going to have a propensity towards heart disease. When you're eating those fruits and vegetables, those switches get turned back off.
Yes, they
So
do.
that is not expressed in you. But not only that, you have the ability then to pass them on in a turned off position to your children.
Mhm. And that's what I did. Like I
Yeah.
said, what happened with my father is 65, and his
Hmm.
father said no, he wasn't going anywhere, but he already, and his
Hmm.
mindset, but he stopped
Hmm.
eating at 100. But epigenetics, that's what I would always tell everyone. In your epigenetics, I'm not going to be like my father,
Right. Right.
or my mother, who,
Hmm.
some things she didn't. We have to learn how to deal with certain things better
Hmm.
ourselves. So the thing is, putting the fruits and vegetables, and I'm sure I know what product it is because I agree with the product. I love it. I think it's a great product. People need to eat food. Some people don't want to. I
Mhm.
mean, even if you're eating food, you still need to take the product because I'm sorry,
Hmm.
the nutritional level is not in our food anymore. It's just not
True.
there.
That's true.
So it's just a wonderful additive. And then, because I have 10 grandchildren, and my grandchildren are definitely following after my pattern
Hmm.
because their
Hmm.
Wow.
mothers are. One of my daughters have her master's in nutrition. And you
Mm.
talk about cooking foods, and what she can do with food is unbelievable. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
She has
I,
she has
you
a
know,
she
I was
has a
just going
heal.
to say, oh, I'm sorry. I keep
No, I
interrupting
just
you.
want to say she has a healing bone broth soup in all type
Oh,
of flavors, from Thai to barbecue to Middle
Hmm.
Eastern
oh,
flavors, bone broth. This girl, she can really cook. I'm so happy for and she can
Wow.
break it down for you nutritionally too and tell you every aspect of your body, what it's doing.
that's fantastic. And that's what I love about that too, because even if you change things in your own body, and then you pass those markers switched off to
Hmm.
your children can still make the wrong choices and switch them right back on.
They can.
So what I love about that is when you change things for yourself, we
Hmm.
tend to pass on the same health habits to our
Yes.
children that we have. And that's part of
Yes.
the reason that diseases run in families. It's not so much because the genes have changed or the
Hmm.
epigenetics has changed. It's because we keep passing on those same bad habits
Hmm. They
as
want to
well
get,
in our
yeah,
lifestyle. So
they
we
want to
can
get
make a
up and have,
difference.
right. They want to
Yeah.
have bacon and eggs and
Mhm.
all the pork. It's not in my diet. I just say that. And
Right.
actually, 10 grandchildren, 3 daughters, it's not in their diets. And
Yeah.
they're all pretty healthy. Grandchildren are really doing good. After the 16-year-old found out she had breast cancer, her diet changed drastically. She's 22 and she's still free
Mhm.
of cancer. So,
Mm.
Fantastic.
yeah. So,
AC
it's really important.
AC Cruz, she had made a comment. She said, Dr. Lee, her husband has been on dialysis for 16 years. And by the grace of God, they're doing something right. So that's great. You know, that's just wonderful to know that, you can still thrive. And again, I have a friend that I have put you in contact with, Dr. Lee. And so
Yes.
she's recently had this little diagnosis and things. And so
Mhm.
hopefully she's going to be able to be proactive and again check those markers and try to figure out what is causing this problem. And so
Right.
we're just honored to have you on with us again, everybody. We have had with us Dr. CHERILYN Lee. She is a health practitioner here in Southern California, just doing wonderful things. She's an author, got some great things coming. We can't wait till your book is finished so we can have you back on again.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
thank you for all of that information. Again, we're going to make sure everybody grab this phone number. It's 888-903-2145. This is for her product for gut health. Make sure you get some of that. And you know what? The holidays are here. And I've wanted to always say, you know, the best gift that you could give somebody is health.
Yes.
So many times we run around and we try to get people the perfect gift and stuff like that. Hey, how about a test where you could check on those markers? If you really love somebody, give them the best gift you can, and that's the gift of health.
Yes. Definitely.
Amen.
Definitely.
Amen.
Yes.
Because you know what they say, people who have their health may want many things, but people who don't have their health, there's only one thing they want.
That's
Yes.
right.
And I see that
Yeah.
all the time. Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
Nina, I'm
Absolutely.
going to let you close it out. Dr. Lee, thank you for being on with us. We're going to
Thank
have
you
you
so
back
much.
again.
Thank
And,
you.
and
It's been such an honor. Thank you.
it's wonderful, your knowledge. Oh, and someone says, Dr. Lee, I'm full of respect and admiration. You're deep in solid education. Yes, thank you for that. Appreciate your comments. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And everyone, I'm going to pass it back over to my wonderful co-host, Nina, and let her close us out.
So everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Dr. Lee, for coming on with us. We can't wait to have you back. And I want to encourage all of you to have a safe and healthy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And y'all be of good courage because God is with us and we aren't alone. Bye, everybody.
Take care. God bless everybody. Have a great week.